Is Africa rising? The Economist loves maps. And what those maps purport to do is show essentially where there is progress, put that in quotation marks, and it's usually defined in terms of economic growth. That's usually what they're talking about. I would suggest that it might be useful, instead of talking about geography, to talk about people. And if we look at the African countries that are clearly on a democratic trajectory, and I can reel them off too if you would like. If you look at those countries and you add their populations up, it comes to about 10% of the total number of people living in sub-Saharan Africa. If you take the countries that are clearly not doing well, and again, I can provide you with a list of them if you would like, and you add up their populations, it comes to about 20% of the population of the continent. That leaves 70% somewhere in between the Nigerias or the Kenyas of this world. Now, that group is subject to very fast change. I have already referred to Ethiopia. Ethiopia has 100 million people. It's second only to Nigeria in terms of size. If we were having this conversation last year or the year before, Ethiopia would be firmly in the negative category, and the percentage of Africans that were living in, what's the right word to use, challenged states would be considerably higher than 20%. So leadership can actually change things, and it can change things very, very quickly. My favorite African author is Chinua Achebe. And speaking of Nigeria, what does he say? He says, there's nothing wrong with Nigeria. There's nothing wrong with the Nigerian people. There's nothing wrong with Nigeria's geography. The problem is consistent failure of leadership in Nigeria. Well, as we saw with Ethiopia, that can change, and that can change very quickly. So if you put me on the spot and you ask me, is Africa rising? I would respond by saying, some of it is, some of it isn't, but that there is definitely hope there.